Hi, I've got something you'll be interested in. Those performance upgrades we discussed after the last race. They're on the car and the data looks promising. Take a look at the details.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Tom and welcome back to a brand new video and episode number 4 of my F1 2016 Season 2 Career Mode, aka part 25 of the series. And we're here for the Russian Grand Prix and we are in practice. And as you can see, we just had a little chat with Chris, who's got the upgrades for the car that we need for this race. And also, I just want to say I've spent a lot of time in the series, guys, to try and get the mods up to scratch, because I've had quite a few issues both on this series and the Mick Schumacher Career Mode, hence the lack of videos and the delay. But I've finally got on top of it, and as you saw on Sunday, I had the brand new episode of the Mick Schumacher Career Mode, and now we've got Career Mode back on the channel now that I've finally sorted out all of the mods. And moving on to the task in hand, and so far I was currently setting some lap times in practice, trying to get a feel for the car, and the car, I've got to say, it felt really good around here. I had a pretty decent setup and the practice program was fairly easy to achieve, and we managed to smash all of the targets here on a track that isn't really particularly demanding in any aspect whatsoever, especially when you're driving a car as good as the Ferrari. So, you know, we're just going to skim over practice and not focus on it too much. As you can see, I'll come across the line now and manage to smash the target quite easily. But we're now going to move into qualifying for the Russian Grand Prix and see how the grid shapes up. So, qualifying was underway in a very wet Sochi Autodrome circuit. As you can see, the rain is absolutely chucking it down here in the Russian Grand Prix in its full wet tyre conditions. However, it is expected to get dry as the session progresses, so we've got to keep an eye out for that. And we did set a bank lap in Q1, and eventually we would improve by a couple of seconds on our second attempt, and luckily we managed to get through the session there just about on the full wet tyre. So a pretty solid one there, not needing to go on to the intermediate crucially. And then moving into Q2 now, as you can see, we've actually gone out right at the end of the session with only a minute or so left on the clock, or 2 minutes, I can't see on my screen, but we've switched over to the dry tyre, and we're the first person to put a lap in on these tyres after Daniel Ricciardo, who is one of our main rivals this season. And we managed to get P1 quite comfortably thanks to the use of the super soft tyre, which would be the tyre that we start the race on. So thank God for that, we can start the race on that tyre, and we got through quite comfortably without using the intermediate. And then finally moving into Q3 now, I was on a really good lap here, making a really nice job of doing a solid lap in Q3. And then unfortunately, as you can see on the exit now, we just clout the wall and lose our left front suspension, just getting a little bit of oversteer on the exit of the curb, and that makes our front left suspension come off the car, which unfortunately results in a disappointing qualifying session, finishing in P10. And that is exactly where we're going to start the race for the Russian Grand Prix. Okay, so here we are for the race, and it's a very damp Russian Grand Prix here. Intermediate conditions for the start of this race, which is exactly what I expected looking at the weather forecast for the weekend. So you never know, we might have got away with a pretty poor qualifying there with the P10, and hopefully we can try and overturn that sort of poor basically qualifying session to a positive result here in the race. Obviously we do have a point lead in the World Drivers' Championship, and we are first, so we can afford to drop a couple of points if we need to. But crucially, we're going to look at the race strategy, and as you can see, obviously it's a no-stop strategy race, but it is looking like it's going to dry out before the end of the race. So fingers crossed that we can get the strategy absolutely spot on. I believe there will only be one pit stop this race, and that'll be when we switch onto the dry tyres. So it's crucial that we get the switch absolutely perfect. Also, as you can see, looking at the bottom there, we're going to run a little bit less fuel, because in the wet conditions you can save a lot of fuel, and it's actually better to run the car a little bit lighter. So we're going to do that, and hopefully it works out quite nicely for us, and we can try and get a solid result under our belt this race. And let's see if we can try. I'm going to try my hardest and get onto the podium. That's going to be the objective. So without further ado, let's jump right into the Russian Grand Prix. Right, here we go then. We've got 5 red lights. We've got a Renault and a Sauber ahead of us, which I never thought I'd be saying at the start of the season, but we're lights out, and away we go for round 4 of the season for the Russian Grand Prix. Getting a pretty decent start actually. Going to try and slot in between these guys here, and we're going to get sandwiched in between these guys, and there's been a huge crash. We've been collected on the straight and want to try and straighten up the car. We've lost the back end. It is a massive pile up, and Daniel Ricciardo is out of the race. Unbelievable scenes here, and we've got a safety car obviously, and what a huge crash. So many cars out of the race, including Nico Rosberg. I've got a 5-second stop go for a collision with Van Dorn. So it's all kicked off here at Sochi. An incredible race start and a massive crash, and I've never had a crash like that ever on an F1 game. That is huge. So, as you can see, looking at a replay from some of the different perspectives that we have. First of all, we're on board with the Dutchman Max Verstappen. And as you can see, he actually got a great launch off the line. And this is where the problem happens as they get 4 wide and actually squeeze onto each other's side pods. And Verstappen actually rips off Ricciardo's front right suspension. And then the Haas of Grosjean rips off Verstappen's front left suspension. And then Magnussen rips off Rosberg's front left suspension. So, all sorts of chaos here. As you can see, we're going to get another point of view from Carlos Sainz, who, along with Lewis Hamilton, who's on the left there, was one of the lucky survivors. As you can see, Hamilton there just ducks to the right hand side, so does Carlos Sainz, and they both avoid the contact crucially. So very lucky for those two. They managed to get away with any sort of incident whatsoever. Now again, one more perspective here from Stoffel Van Dorn. As you can see, the lights are out and we get an okay start. As you can see, Van Dorn getting a pretty solid one, but now there's where the contact starts. I think the Manor gets tangled with Ocon, and then they all go for a spin at the back of the grid. They've Magnussen there going off to the left hand side, and Jolyon Palmer there facing backwards, and eventually Van Dorn would smash into my side pod there. And getting another perspective from Pascal Wehrlein, who seemed to be the man who had contact with Esteban Ocon, who's right there on the left hand side. As you can see, Wehrlein here, I don't know what he did, but he sort of swung out left on purpose a little bit, and then that also put Ocon into a spin, and then everyone basically just had a crash from there on onwards. And overall, I've never had such a big crash before. We're just going to get one more perspective now from Kevin Magnussen in the Haas to see exactly what happened here. As you can see, the Force unit gets all out of shape, as does Wehrlein, and then I think Magnussen gets caught by someone and then smacks into Nico Rosberg. So a huge crash there on the first lap of the race. Here we go then into the pit lane. We've got Pascal Wehrlein ahead of us, who actually got really lucky to get all the way up into P5, which would have been incredible for Manor, but unfortunately he is going to lose that position. But I do believe a lot of cars are going to come in the pits behind us. There are only 16 runners remaining, which is absolutely incredible, but we are going to come in. We do have a 5-second stop go, so we're going to lose a little bit of time here, I believe, and we're going to get a front wing change as well, fresh intermediate tyres, and I think, are we going to get released, or are we going to be held here? No, actually we're going to be released, so I must have a time penalty for later on in the race then, because I could have sworn I saw a stop go, so I don't know what's going on there. But either way, as you can see there, we're going to actually jump Wehrlein, because he was getting held by the Haas cars, so we've got away quite lightly there with that pit stop, and we've actually still managed to come out ahead of all those guys. But we are in P11 out of only 16 runners, and look at all of the debris here on the pit straight. But crucially, it's now going to be an interesting race, this one, and the pack's going to be massively shuffled, and it's going to make for a very exciting Russian Grand Prix, I hope. Okay, so here we go then. We're getting ready for the restart. The safety car is coming in now, and the pack is basically getting really bunched up. As you can see, we've got a very mixed grid there with the likes of Hulkenberg and also King in there. We've actually gone green here, and the restart's caught me right out, and I think Palmer's actually going to get me on the restart. He's actually going to go up the inside of Perez, and also I think I've got Van Dorn up the inside of me here. I'm going to have to try and leave these guys the room, but we've been caught napping on the restart, myself and Sergio Perez. I'm going to try and traction up on the exit of the final corner and now make a move on Perez here. We do have the straight line speed in this Ferrari, so hopefully we can try and make it stick. Perez is going to squeeze me as much as he can to the inside wall. It's going to be side-by-side action here. I'm basically a drag race into the second corner. I'm going to try and get nice and late on the brakes here. Take the inside line on Sergio Perez, and back in there just stepping out of me a little bit, but we have back caught it, and we're up into P10, so an okay restart, but we've lost a little bit of time to the guys ahead of us here. Okay, right at the back of Felipe Nasr here. These guys are going very, very slowly. I'm going to try and pull off a move here. Should be a fairly simple overtake on the Brazilian. If I just take the inside line back, and going to try and snap on me, but I catch it. And we can now try and get past Nico Hulkenberg through here. Getting a great run, picking up the traction, not quite. I'm going to switch back to the inside. Can I make a move on Hulkenberg? No, I can't. Hulkenberg actually doing a nice little job there defending from me, but I should be able to make a move here though with the straight line speed that I have in this car. I'm running fairly low wing, 6.6 aero. I've run a little bit lower in the dry, should I say, but in the wet I'll go a bit more conservative, and I'm actually boxed in here. At the moment we've got a yellow flag, and oh my god, we've had contact with King. King, please move, get a move on. And we've had contact, they've got yellow flag, and Sainz is backwards, and Perez is smacked into Sainz there, so I think we've got an illegal overtake, so we have to give that back to Perez here, which is unfortunate. He's lost a bit of front wing, so I'm just going to try and let him get past me. Come on, Perez, go past. I need him to go past. There we go, he's got past. Now we can basically get a foot down and not let him overtake us completely, and there we go. He's got front wing damage, so I don't lose too much time behind him, and we're going to continue on here and soldier on and go after King, who we was going to try and pass, and also Hulkenberg, but we got obviously a bit tangled up with that yellow flag, so let's try and get a foot down a little bit and try and catch these guys. So looking at a replay of the incident with Carlos Sainz in the all-black Toros, as you can see there, he's got Raikkonen alongside him and he just clouts him and sends him for a spin and ends up facing backwards on the track. Meanwhile, as you can see, myself and Jordan King going side by side, and then now go for the corner. Perez completely smacks Sainz's front wing and loses part of it, so an unfortunate one there for the Spaniard. Okay, I'm all over the back of King now. He's going very slowly in the Manor car. Obviously, the Manor is the slowest car, and we're just going to try and make a nice easy move on the young Brit here. Going to try and go around the outside. Can I pull it off? It's going to be tight, but we just about get the move there, and we can now go after Nico Hulkenberg, who also the Renault, not a very quick car, and Renault overall just really struggling for some development in their R&D package, and you got to feel that they've not really advanced as much as they would have liked with their driver lineup either. So this could be an opportunity for us to make a move on the German here, getting a great run through that section, picking up the traction, back end getting a little bit snappy on me, but we are going to make the move by going up the inside here of Nico Hulkenberg, and there we go, we're up into P6 now, and we can try and chase down Fernando Alonso. There we go, fastest lap of the race, and we're right on the back of Fernando Alonso, and also Felipe Nasr is in a podium position for Sauber. Just let that sink in. Alonso! Ooh, wow, that was close. Many poos shot out there. Jesus, that was so close. And as I say that, it's actually Marcus Ericsson, and he's now been overtaken by Lance Stroll, who's putting on an impressive performance there. And there's been contact between the two of them, and they're off the track. And we just avoid them. And me and Alonso get through, and now Alonso's up into P3. This race is absolutely hectic. The only two semi-competitive cars left in this race are Raikkonen and Hamilton, who are in first and second. And literally all of the big boys have got wiped out this race. So it's an absolutely surreal Grand Prix. This is I lose the back end. Just going to try and catch it a little bit here. A really, really mad race here at Sochi. And I need to get my head into the game here and try and get past Alonso, because he's causing a little bit of time loss. I need to try and keep up with Raikkonen and Hamilton, especially when we move over into the dry conditions, which are not too far away. So let's see if we can try and make a move on Alonso here. Going to get a nice run through there, pick up the traction. Beautiful. There we go. We're now going to try and pick up some slipstream. We're going to steer well clear of Fernando Alonso this time to avoid any sort of contact and him steering potentially into me here, as we take the better line into this braking zone, and we should be able to hold on as we take a bit of an early apex to defend from Alonso. And there we go, we're up into P3, so finally we get back into a podium position and we make the move on the Spaniard. Okay, I'm fairly close to Kimi here. This should be a fairly simple move. Now, I'm going to pit at the end of this lap for super soft tyres, so I'm going to make the call right now, and hopefully the mechanics respond. So fingers crossed we can come into the pit lane for a set of super softs as we make a dive on my teammate, who apparently has a bit of front wing damage according to Jeff. So that explains why his pace hasn't been particularly incredible, but either way we make the move on Kimi there, and we can now get ourselves into second place. And I think we're going to pit now in this lap, because even though there's a bit of spray on the tyres, I feel like the time's right for the switch. I don't know why, but I just do. So I'm going to come in right now, and hopefully it's the right call. It's going to be risky. I could be throwing the race away, but either way, even if the tyres are not fully up to scratch when I exit the pit lane, the main thing is that I'm on the dry tyres, so the track will come to me gradually. So I should be able to make the tyre work, hopefully. But here we go. I think we're serving a 5-second time penalty now. I don't know why we didn't serve it in the first pit stop with the safety car. So maybe if you guys can clarify to me in the comments down below, maybe because the regulation doesn't allow you to serve it under safety car, maybe, I'm not sure. But either way, we've served our penalty, so now we're all good. We can now push on these super soft tyres, but we'll have to see what the grip levels are like out on the track. So far it's very slippery here in the pit exit, because obviously no cars touch this part of the track. So let's try and get up to speed onto the dry line and see how the car feels here. Just keep talking for a second as we make our way into turn 1, and it's actually quite understeery, so I might have committed a bit early to this actually. I'm going to stick with it, but this might have been a bit of a bad call. Oh wow, that was close. Jesus Christ, Grosjean. I don't know why I went for a gap that wasn't there. We've got Magnussen making a move behind me. He's actually hit me up the rear. Can I take the inside line? Yes, I can. And we're going to hold on for a little bit longer as both of the Haas cars are sort of tripping each other up. So that's going to help me out a treat. But I need the track to dry a little bit quicker now, because otherwise I'm losing time to Kimi and Lewis. Here comes Grosjean. He's going to go to the outside. This time, can he make it work on my left-hand side? I'm going to try and brake as late as I can. And as late as I dare on these super softs, running in a little bit deep. I'm going to squeeze him out, just cut his nose off, and we have held on to P5. But I'm really struggling on these tyres. This definitely one of the worst strategy calls I've made in a long time, because I'm really struggling. I mean, look at this. But there's literally no spray, and the thing is, because I'm running the Storm mod, I'm still not used to timing when it comes to the Storm mod, because that basically increases the visual effects of the rain. But look at this, I mean, the track looks bone dry, and even the sun's coming out, yet I'm sliding off the track like it's nobody's business. So very interesting conditions here. Oh, virtual safety car. That's a bit of a game changer. I don't know why that's been called out, but either way, we've got a virtual safety car, so that's going to spice things a little bit, because I know some people might come in for a pit stop. Crucially, Raikkonen, Hamilton, Alonso and Stroll all crossed the line before that, so they will be able to serve a pit stop. But I was just starting to find my stride. If that virtual safety car hadn't have come out, that would have been our fastest lap of the race. So the track is starting to come to me now, and obviously the AI pitting for dry tyres pretty much justifies that. So I just need to hope that the virtual safety car goes before Hamilton and Raikkonen reach the pit entry, so that they basically get triggered into pitting in. And basically, hang on, I need to slow down here, otherwise I'm going to get a penalty. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I was saying, hopefully it comes in before they do, because that way they'll get triggered into coming in, and hopefully I can push for the rest of this lap as hard as I can. Okay, so Alonso and Stroll have pit. Kimi Raikkonen has also pit. I'm not sure if Lewis Hamilton has, but either way, I don't think I'm going to get any higher than third this race, which is very disappointing considering where I was before I switched onto dry. So just need to hope that Lewis didn't pit for dry tyres, and then I might have half a chance. Well, here we go. Lewis Hamilton has won the race. Kimi Raikkonen did finish second in the end, and unfortunately I'm only going to come home P3, which was a very disappointing result considering the potential, and I've actually run out of fuel, so I'm just going to try and coast across the line here, and there we go. A okay P3. I mean, let's not forget I started from P10 on the grid, and I was backwards on the pit straight on the first lap, but considering the safety car and the weather conditions, I thought I could have actually won that race. But I said overall a disappointing result, I think, and I'm going to look at it as a potential amount of points lost rather than gained. So overall, an alright race. Lewis Hamilton does win convincingly around Sochi, and he gets his first win of the season, I believe. So a much needed win for Lewis Hamilton to get himself back into the title scene, and also springboard his season, his 2017 season. And looking at the podium, as you can see, we've got the two Ferrari drivers either side of the man himself, Lewis Hamilton, like I said. And overall, a disappointing result, but crucially for the Ferrari team as a whole, a lot of points gained in the constructors, which should hopefully help us out and should be fairly handy to us. But overall, that was the Russian Grand Prix, and yet another podium. So overall, a solid result from a poor qualifying session. So we're going to move into the next race, into the final part of the video. So that was Sochi. So there we have it then, that was the Russian Grand Prix. As you can see, a pretty successful race for us, getting a pretty decent 15 points behind, you know, the likes of Lewis Hamilton and Kimi Raikkonen. So not much more we could have done on the day, and overall, I think a pretty deserved result. And however, it's not going to affect us too badly, because we are going to maintain our championship lead, which is absolutely crucial to us. And overall, it's going to be pretty successful, because Kimi Raikkonen, who finished in second place, thanks to him and also myself, are actually going to take the lead in the constructors for the first time this season. I believe the first time ever since I've started this career mode. So a pretty successful race here overall, considering I started from P10 on the grid. And if you guys did enjoy, then a thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. And also, if you could check out any of the videos on the screen right now, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Also, if you did miss any of the previous episodes, there's a link to the playlist down below in the description. And of course, if you're new around here, then please be sure to subscribe to my channel if you are enjoying the content I'm currently putting up, and look forward to much more content like this in the near future. But nevertheless, guys, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.